Hello everybody and welcome back to Typical City, the Community Shield, the curtain raiser, the official start of the Premier League season, the whole season in fact, the 23-24 season starts tomorrow and I cannot wait. The Community Shield. Two champions, two winners, lock horns and go blow for blow, head to head to raise the curtain for the Premier League season. Now, unfortunately, we could only find one winner and one champion. That is Manchester City Football Club because Arsenal didn't win anything last season. So, it used to be called the Charity Shield. So, very, very charitable of City to allow that shower to stand on the shoulders of giants, those shoulders being Manchester City's, of course, and face us, players again. Last season, 3 times you faced us. You lost all 3. So have they got what it takes to take on the champions of Europe, the champions of England, and the champions and holders of the FA Cup? Can they do it? Because really, this should be City's A team versus City's B team, in fairness. But Arsenal, rules are rules, and they've loopholed their way into a potential winning of a bit of silverware for them again. But watch along, that's tomorrow. Join me if you're new to the channel. I will be live streaming a watch along for the game. I'm really excited. I really enjoyed how many of you turned out for the pre-season game. I was surprised because I'm a new starting channel, not fresh off the block, and so many of you turning up in the watch along. It was good to see. I enjoyed getting to know you. We had a good time. It's been fun, but now the real business starts. You're going to see the real me. None of this pre-season nonsense. It means business now. This is the business start of the season now, so let's get going. Right, lineups. I'm going to start with City this time. I've gone for the strongest possible lineup. I think this is our best lineup. No Guardiola. I haven't gone for Guardiola purely because I just don't think Pep's going to throw him right into the mix. I will be surprised. I actually hope he does start. I want him to start, but I don't think Pep will. My pre-season predictions for the starting 11 were more hopeful than logical, whereas this is more on the logical side. I think we are fresh going off the way we started against Atletico Madrid. The starting 11 was almost full strength. Edison in goal, Ake, Diaz, and I've gone for Walker as the right side of the 3 at the back. Namely, that's to deal with Martinelli's pace or potentially Trossard's pace. Even Saka could go out on the left, rarely, but the fact that Walker started all 3 pre-season games, are you wondering now, is he going to be a Manchester City player? We saw yesterday him being videoed by a bartender at a bar, sitting there like an old bloke telling war stories with Pep Guardiola. So he's having a chat with Pep Guardiola. So, he looked like his dad looking after him, in fairness, didn't it? Pep was like looking the other way, like, you keep, that's enough drinks for you. Like, keep your knob away. Get your knob out. Don't get your knob out again in a bar. Like, Kyle, put it away, mate. But looking after him, I don't think Kyle does that stuff anymore. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, shall we? But the fact that he started as a captain's armband, started all 3 pre-season games, I think he'll do the same again. I kind of hope he does for that pace, just to keep Martinelli quiet. Ahead of them, Stones and Rodri. Quality pivots that we've now got in front of that back 3, and we know Stones can drift into the back line should we need to. Being Arsenal, we're likely going to have to defend a little bit more than we would do against lesser opposition. I think they've got potency going forward, Arsenal, and I think they've added to it. They've got freedom now, and I'll get into that when I talk about the Arsenal lineup. I think they're going to see a little tweak to their formation that is going to free up one player in particular, which means Stones and Rodri are going to have to do a job in that defensive midfield. Ahead of them, I've gone for Foden and Kovacic. I don't think De Bruyne is going to be thrown in. Similar reasons for Guardiola in the sense that I think he's fit now, he's ready to play, and hopefully we do see minutes. That's going to whet the appetite for Arsenal fans. No De Bruyne on the team sheet because they're terrified of him. That guy is just like the puppeteer of Arsenal. He just pulls strings whenever he wants and destroys them at will, doesn't he? So you're wondering if De Bruyne will be thrown in just for the fear factor alone. Pep knows what he's doing when he's playing games with the psychology of opposition teams. But he's not played a single minute in pre-season, so it is Kevin De Bruyne, isn't it, at the end of the day? You could throw him in for 45 minutes, win us the game, and then bring him off. Well, are we going to see changes like that? That's the question. In a pre-season game, effectively this is pre-season, but it's a game where I think 90 minutes are going to be tested for the players. I think the starting 11 will start the second half. I can't see it being one of those pre-season games and where 10 changes are made at half-time. I think during the hour mark you might see a few changes, but ultimately I think the best 11 we've got is the team that we probably started with against Atletico Madrid. I want to see De Bruyne and I want to see Gvardiol, but the fact that they've not played any pre-season with City minutes on the pitch, I don't think they will start this game for that reason alone. Up top, the big man, Erling Haaland. I think he'll start. Grealish on the side of him and Bernardo on the other side of him. And I think that's it. I think that's the best team we could field right now. I think you're looking at Gvardiol and De Bruyne. That's it, isn't it, really? In terms of, I think that team puts the shits up Arsenal, doesn't it? Now, does their team put the shits up us? Let's have a look at the Arsenal team. Ramsdale in net. I've gone for Gabriel and Saliba. Now that's Saliba, their excuses have gone. Alongside the fact that they don't have the squad. You've just spent nearly 200 million on 3 players. So excuses are running dry for Arsenal. It's time to win a trophy. Time to win a trophy. And if you want to call this a major trophy, I'm sure they will if they win it. We'll see. But Timber, I think they're going to start Timber at left back. I think he's predominantly left back. They have got Tierney who can play there. He was a good player. I'm surprised they don't play him as often as... I think he's better than the minutes that he got last season. I mean, there was links with City actually at one point, but I think he's a good player, Tierney. But I do think Timber's been brought in to hold down that left back position. Whether Zinchenko will do, I'm not too sure. I think Timber is the one that we're going to see predominantly. I've gone for Ben White at right back. Ahead of them, this is where I think you're going to see a change now, because I think last season we saw them most commonly with one defensive midfielder, and they freed up a little bit. But Odegaard was given a number 8 role, a box-to-box role last season. Whereas I think if they play Partey and Rice in defensive midfield, ahead of them, Odegaard, I think that frees up Odegaard. And we saw numerous times Odegaard gave the ball away against us, in fact. I think for De Bruyne's second goal at the Etihad, he was dilly-dallying it in his own half and he got caught on the ball. And I don't think Odegaard wants to be that side of the pitch. He wants to be in the attacking third. And I think that's where he is at his most dangerous, drifting into those pockets and finding space onto the edge of the area, and where he gets a lot of his goals just on the edge of the area. I think that's where their main threat will come through. Odegaard not having that responsibility to come back as much, with Rice and Partey protecting him behind. So they've freed up Odegaard by doing this. I'm not sure whether Arteta actually will, but that's what I think he might go for. Either side of him, you could go Martinelli and Trossard. Either side, it's flip of a coin. Trossard has done us a few times. In Brighton, scored against us last season, in fact, when he was a Brighton player pre-Christmas. Then he signs for Arsenal. Luckily, he doesn't do any damage against us. But I've actually gone for Saka on the right-hand side rather than Trossard. I think Trossard could play on either side. I do rate Trossard. I think he's a really good player, but he's not really held down a position at Arsenal yet. Could he next season? You have to wait and see if he can do that. But Havertz ahead of him. Jesus being injured, of course. Havertz can play in the Odegaard role that I've put him in. Can Havertz play as a false 9? He can play as a striker. He did that more at Chelsea, and for Germany he does a little bit more often as well. So I think Havertz will go up top. But out of those two teams, who's winning? Who is winning that game? Prediction-wise, I'm going to go for 2-2. I think this will be a 2-2 game, and City either win it. I don't know if it goes to extra time, actually. I need to check that out. If it goes to extra time, or does it go straight to penalties in the Community Shield? I think it goes straight to penalties. I might be wrong. I'll check that out after. I'm sure you'll correct me in the comments. But if it goes straight to penalties, I think we'll win on penalties. They actually have had practice on penalties. They played their most recent pre-season game against Monaco at the Emirates, and they drew that game, and it went to penalties, and they won on penalties in the end. So they've had some practice taking penalties, albeit not too serious. It got them a piece of silverware, their own piece of friendly silverware that they awarded themselves. Like, congratulations, Arsenal. Seems a bit pointless, but yeah, I'm sure they take it seriously. The confidence going into the team, into the season, though. I mean, Arsenal spent 200 plus. City were on top of the table for 15 days last season. 15 days. And we still won the league. That confidence is just unmatched. It's a level of confidence that's unmatched. Going into a season knowing that you can be on top of the table for so few days and still win the league. And Arsenal going into the season knowing they can be on top of the table for 250 plus, 200, I think it was like 268 days or something like that. They were top of the league. They smashed the record for the most days on top and not winning the league. The second team, the fewest days on top, was United with 31 days on top, and that was back in 2002 when the competition wasn't as high. It was normally first versus second. Now you've got 3 or 4 teams that are going to be vying for the Premier League title next season. Or is it just a one-horse race? Is it just a one-horse race? Because teams are, the way teams talk about City now, they talk about it as City are the benchmark, and everyone else has got to fight it out to earn second place against them. That's the way it feels right now. Whether it plays out like that, we'll have to wait and see. But in terms of Arsenal going head-to-head with City, their record is just abysmal. I mean, during the Pep spell, under Pep, there's been 19 games, and City have won 16 of those games. Now, in Arsenal's favour, their 2 wins that have been against Manchester City came at Wembley. So they've, in terms of us having a voodoo over them, they've got a little bit of a voodoo over us when we play them at Wembley, our second home. Wembley is a place we are frequently visiting now. It's our second home, effectively, isn't it? And I mean, you do worry about playing Arsenal at Wembley. The team's going to be up for sending a message, sending a statement, and it's City who have to squash that statement, put those statements to bed and make a statement of our own, go into the game with the best attitude. The pre-season differences are quite big as well. I think both teams have had different pre-seasons. Ours was very much on the commercial side. I've always said that City have more benefits from training under Pep Guardiola behind closed doors, where Pep can stop the game and implement his tactics, rather than these games that are for the fans, for the commercial side of the game, and it spreading the word of Manchester City, getting our name on a global stage as big as we are now. So I do think this week could have been more valuable to City in Manchester, training with Pep behind closed doors, than the whole time during Asia. I genuinely believe that. Training with Pep, and now you're adding Guardiola, De Bruyne is fully fit. I'm really looking forward to the game. But Arsenal's pre-season's been a bit mixed as well. I think they've had 6 pre-season games. They've only won 2 of them in 90 minutes. They drew to Watford, they drew to Nuremberg, so it's been mixed, but pre-season they lost to United, so I mean, come on, who's losing to United nowadays? But yeah, boys, Blues, get in the comments below. I want to hear your predictions for this game. I'm excited for this game. Join me in the watch along if you've not joined me before. If you have and you enjoyed the last one, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Get in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.